All right, let's talk about the modern tennis forehand. We're going to zero in on one of the most misunderstood parts of it, that elusive, powerful, and, often totally incorrectly taught concept of wrist lag.
I mean, who doesn't, right? We all dream of that heavy, penetrating shot that just explodes off the court, the one that feels like you're barely even trying. It's kind of the holy grail of tennis, and believe me, it's a lot more achievable than you think. Okay, so let's cut right to the chase. The key to unlocking all that power really is in your wrist. But, and this is a big but, so much of the common advice floating around out there isn't just a little bit off, it's actively holding you back. And this is where it gets really serious. As Coach Mike Babel puts it, getting this wrong isn't just about shanking a forehand into the fence. We're talking about putting your body at real risk. So let's clear up all the confusion and start building a forehand that's based on physics, not on brute force.
First things first, we have to take a wrecking ball to the biggest and frankly most dangerous myth that plagues players at literally every level. This idea that you need to actively snap your wrist.
I'm sure you've heard this one before, maybe from a coach, maybe you saw it online. The instruction is to lay the wrist back, that's the lag, and then, right at the moment of contact, just violently snap it forward to get extra power and spin. I get it, it sounds so powerful, but trust me, it's a total trap. And here's where you can really see the difference. The snap is a forced muscular action. It's an aggressive flexion, where you're trying to muscle your wrist forward. And that is just incredibly stressful on all those little joints and tendons. Now, the truth of the modern forehand is a lag and roll. It's totally passive. It's a result of physics doing the work for you, and it leads to safe, repeatable, consistent power.
And this explains perfectly why that whole snapping idea just falls apart. As Racket Flex points out, think about it. The time it takes from the end of your backswing to the moment you hit the ball, we're talking about a few milliseconds. Nobody has reflexes that fast to consciously time a perfect wrist snap in that tiny window. If you try, you're just setting yourself up for inconsistency and a whole lot of frustration.
So if snapping is out, what's in? Well, let's get to the good stuff. We need to embrace a concept that feels, well, exactly what it's called: effortless. We're talking about passive lag.
Okay, if you remember one thing, make it this. Passive wrist lag isn't something you do. It's something that happens to you when your mechanics are right and your arm is loose and relaxed. The racket head, because it has weight, just gets left behind for a split second. That's it.
It all comes down to some pretty simple physics. I want you to think of your arm as a whip. You don't crack a whip by trying to flick the very end of it, right? Of course not. All the power comes from the handle. Well, your body is the handle. It starts the motion, it uncoils, and the rest of the whip, your arm and your racket, just follows along for the ride. The heavy racket head naturally falls behind, and that's the lag that creates the whip effect through the ball. Okay, the theory is cool and all, but you're probably wondering, how do I actually make this happen on the court? I get it. And it all starts with the absolute foundation, how you're holding the racket. So here's a fantastic tip, courtesy of Intuitive Tennis. A lot of players hold the racket with all their fingers bunched up together, like a fist. But that basically puts your wrist in a cast. It can't move freely. The solution is so simple. Just create a little gap between your index finger and your middle finger, kind of like a trigger finger. This tiny change gives your wrist all the freedom it needs to lay back naturally. Let me say that again because it's that important. If your grip is wrong, you can pretty much forget about getting natural wrist lag. It is physically impossible. You're putting the emergency brake on before you even start the car. You have to unlock the wrist first.
So how tight should you be holding on? Well, Mike Babel gives us this fantastic and memorable analogy. Imagine you're holding a tiny live mouse. You've got to hold on firmly enough that it doesn't get away, but you definitely don't want to, it's the same idea with your racket. The real goal is to be loose enough that you can actually feel the weight of the racket head. If you can't feel it, you're choking it.
All right, so you've got the grip sorted out, your wrist is unlocked. What's next? Now we need to talk about the power source. And here's a spoiler alert. That effortless power does not come from your arm. It comes from your body. This is the sequence, the whole kinetic chain. You set the racket up high, using your non-hitting hand to keep your hitting arm nice and relaxed. Then you coil your upper body, loading up all that rotational energy like a spring. And then, this is where the magic happens. You uncoil explosively, firing your hips and your core first. That explosion pulls your relaxed arm through, and it's that action that creates the lag for you. Just let this metaphor sink in because it's everything. Your body is the engine. Your arm is the whip. It's as simple as that. You don't try to power the shot with your arm. You let the engine do all the heavy lifting.
Now we're getting to what might be the most important part of all of this. We've gone through the theory, but you can't just think your way into a great forehand. This is something you have to learn by feeling it. So how do you find that feeling? Here are a few fantastic drills from some top coaches. Gently swinging the racket in a figure eight just helps you feel that continuous, relaxed motion. The Spider-Man drill is a fun one to feel the wrist laying back. Or you can even try pulling a towel that's attached to a fence. The resistance will literally pull your wrist back into the lag position. All of these drills are designed to help you find the feeling without forcing the position.
And this really gets to the heart of it. As TPA Tennis explains, this whole technique requires a leap of faith. You have to trust the physics. You have to trust that if you just rotate your body and let your arm swing, the racket will find the ball. It's going to feel like you're late at first, but that's where the power is hiding. Okay, one last and very, very important point. This is not a technique for day one beginners. This kind of relaxed, lagging swing requires you to have excellent hand-eye coordination and the ability to track the ball well. So if you're still just working on judging the bounce and meeting the ball out in front, please focus on that first. Trying to add lag too early is just a recipe for frustration.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to take with you to the court. Is your forehand built on force or is it built on physics? Are you still trying to muscle the ball with a tight wrist and that dangerous snap, or are you ready to unlock the truly effortless power that comes from trusting your body and letting the racket do the work? The answer, I promise you, could completely change your entire game.